Hello, everyone. Welcome to February's Roundtable of 2025. My name is Esmeralda Bonk. I am the Assistant Council Commissioner for Roundtable, and my co-host is,
Stephen Schmelzer, and I am the Assistant Roundtable Commissioner.
and we are here to do what we do and bring news to you. That sounded right. Anyway. All right, let's start off with what we always start off with. Please prepare yourselves for the pledge, oath, and law. And I hope I shared this right. If you can't hear it, please let me know because I might have forgotten to check a box.
Those in uniform, please salute. Those who are not, put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance
to the
to
flag
the flag
of
of the
the
United
United States
States,
and to the republic which it
for which
stands,
it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty and
liberty and
justice for
justice
all.
for all.
On my honor, I will do my
I will
best
do my best
to do my
to
duty,
do my duty
God
to
my
guide my country,
obey the scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
A scout is trustworthy,
Trustworthy,
loyal,
loyal,
helpful,
helpful,
friendly,
friendly,
courteous, kind,
kind,
obedient,
obedient,
cheerful, thrifty, brave,
brave,
clean, and
clean,
reverent.
and
All right. All right. Scouter's prayer. Steve.
Dear Lord, from your judgments set on high, look down on a scouter such as I. Search me through and find me whole. Then help me, Lord, to reach my goal. Help me, Lord, to work for thee. Guard my homeland, keep it free. Help me to work with others and be kind, helpful with my hands and mind. Keep me, Lord, both well and strong to help our growing boys along and girls. Control my thoughts, keep them right. Sound, clean weapons for life's fight. Protect my morals, keep them high. Grant this to a scouter such as I.
Thank you. All right. Commissioners. Did you know that Rainbow Council commissioner staffs are here to help you? Did you know that? I hope you did. Because if you don't, I'm telling you now, we are here to help you. Think of us as your customer service to your unit, and we are here to help. But this time, we are also looking for some help. We need you. Are you someone that might be able to lead or facilitate the Cub Scouts or the Scouts BSA breakout sessions? We can always use someone else because, people need to hear from other people other than Steve and I. I know we're marvelous, but, you guys are great too. So come on out. Are you someone who can help edit our recordings so we can post them as soon as possible? We're just looking for someone to kind of edit these videos so we can post them online and have them readily available for those who can't join up this wonderful sessions of ours. We're also trying to create a team to help to run a hybrid roundtable in the future. A hybrid roundtable would be that we would meet in person, but we would still have a virtual option for those who can't meet on our days, or it's too far away, but they still want to be part of us. Or simply become a part of our roundtable commissioner team. Our roundtable commissioner team basically is you help us come up with some ideas and plan our roundtables every month. We can always use more. And I think that people who have been coming to roundtables, I think it would be the best option for you guys. Think about it. Come talk to us.
And we have fun.
We have fun. Yes, we always have fun. That's very important. We always have fun. Moving right along. Scout law. Trustworthy.
A scout is trustworthy. Scouts tell the truth and keep promises. People can depend on you. A scout is trustworthy.
Keep that
I
in.
really want to go to the Philippines now just so I can see this thing in person.
That is pretty cool. All right, info minute. Just in case you didn't get the handy dandy email that our communications team sent out, here I am to tell you what was in there. Okay. March 1st is Scouting University. All experience levels welcome. Either a variety of things you can choose from for classes for adults. Sign up soon. Sign up soon. On March 8th is a Council Pinewood Derby. This is going to be held at the Joliet Mall, last I checked. So please, if you're interested or you have someone who is interested, please come on out and have some fun. They're also looking for people to have some recruitment tables, and man your own table to get some recruitment. This is a great opportunity to do so. We're on the public. They're all looking for both Scouts BSA as well as Cub Scout units. Our next virtual roundtable is actually March 13th. This is for leaders and mentors. That is our theme. On March 15th is a chess tournament. This is limited to the first 24 Scouts. So please, if you have anyone interested, sign up soon before it fills up. On the 23rd of March, we have the Range Masters training, both for BBs, archery, slingshot, tomahawk training for unit leaders. On the 29th of March is the 10 Commandment hike, and this is open for all scouting programs. In April, from the 11th to the 13th is Wilderness First Aid. I think we're thinking it's first aid. Required to attend high adventures, perfect for older scouts and adults. On April 12th is a Cub Scout Easter egg hunt, open to all Cub Scouts at RSR. On the very same day is our actual in-person roundtable in April for all adult leaders and interested volunteers. Our theme for that one is COPE, which is why it's on a Saturday, and that's why we're at RSR. Come find out what COPE has to offer for you and your unit. On the 25th through the 26th, the Wapakan Lodge Spring Ordeal. For more information or to sign up, go to our Rainbow Council events page, and you can sign up directly there or get more information or find the contact person if you have any further questions. Here we go. Our awards for our leaders. Steve, take it away.
Scouting America Award volunteers. Scouting America volunteers can be recognized in many ways, both formal, including formal, informal thank yous, and handmade items. Formal awards would be like a veteran award given to adults who have been registered for 5 years or more. Training awards and keys given for tenure and training, leadership, and performance. Informal thank yous, a thank you call or a text after a meeting or event, a shout out on social media, a handmade card or gift. Handmade items, cards and certificates and t-shirts and other items. Just ideas that you could throw out there. You can nominate volunteers for awards at the council, district, and national levels. You can also purchase recognition items from the BSA Scout shops or other retailers. Some leaders do not require any awards as they view the Scouts doing scouting reward enough.
Thank you. So think about different ways to recognize your leaders and your parents. You know, that's a good way to make sure we can keep them and that we recognize the good work that they do to
Simple recognition goes a long way. Just being like, hey, you're doing a great job.
Maybe some ideas. I mean, I've done as simple as getting like bottles of hand cream in a little with a note card that says thank you for lending a hand, and keeping your hands nice and soft and stuff. Something unique and different. I think people just simply want to be recognized for the things that they do. So just like the Scouts. All right, service stars. Service stars are a great way to encourage and recognize Cub Scouts for staying in scouting. This also can be for Scouts BSA and leaders, by the way. After being in the pack for 1 year, a Cub Scout is eligible to wear the 1-year service star. There are stars for each year following. Service stars continue throughout the various programs and adult volunteer services. Special recognition pins are available for benchmark periods such as 5 and 10 years. How can you tell if they earn certain years for a certain amount of time? They used to have the plastic backings for each to recognize the different ranks. I think blue was for Cub Scouts, green was for Scouts
Venturing.
or venturing, sorry. And the gold, so you can tell it. I haven't done this one in a while. Maybe I should really look into it and start recognizing some of my leaders myself. But there's no application for this recognition. Service stars can be purchased at your local Scout shop or online at scoutshop.org. Moving right along. Membership Minute. Melissa.
Hello, everyone. Melissa Rubick, your Vice President of Membership. And just like at Tacos and Tots, we're talking about the new member coordinator network that we're starting in council. So a couple questions for the new member coordinator network. First of all, what is a new member coordinator? Most of your units, all of your units, hopefully have someone that helps onboard new scouts and families. That would be your new member coordinator. Ideally, it would be one person or a whole team dedicated to that, but realistically, we know they all wear several hats. So hopefully your unit does have one or more people in this role. And we'd like to start a network of them so that we can all work together across the council to support each other, give ideas, have resources. So we have some questions for you. What would this network look like to you? How should it work? And what would be helpful for your unit from the network? So we're asking you to email us. I'll put my email in the chat again. If you can email us this week, we're hoping to get this started by March, so any feedback would be great. I did ask last month and I got 2 whole responses. So hopefully we can get like 2 more and double that this month. That'd be awesome. So if you have some thoughts on what this network could look like, how often we should meet, person and virtual, what kind of resources would be helpful from the network, let us know your feedback so we can make sure that this is the most helpful for your units to grow scouting in 2025. That's all I got.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
As ever, the fabulous Melissa Rubik. Help her out. We need to get some people to help her out here so she can at least double her committee.
We're just asking for feedback. Everybody can join the membership committee, but all I'm looking for is feedback on what the network can be, and the network will be something separate from the membership committee as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Prohibited activities.
Whew.
Is our safety moment.
Safety moment today is prohibited activities. Sometimes you just have to say no to an activity when you know the program of Scouting of America. So did you know there are activities and programs that you should not be a part of, that should not be part of any scouting experience? Or that there are limits for when some activities should be introduced? How can you find out about them and why they are on the list? Are what this safety moment is all about. Is it some key questions to ask yourself, right? Is the activity in the handbook or other current scouting literature? Does it support the value of Scouting America? Is it age appropriate? Is it prohibited or unauthorized? Look at the list of prohibited activities in the Guide to Safe Scouting, and the link has been put into the chat.
So just because it used to be done a long time ago doesn't mean that it is allowed now. So always stay on top of these activities as scout leaders. We want to make sure we keep our kiddos safe, and we want to make sure that they have the best fun. Oh, the best experience and the most fun. There we go. That they can have in this program, but we also need to make sure that we keep them safe. All right, moving right along. Channel topic is our supplemental training. Did you know that there are other trainings aside from the ones for your position? There is, let me tell you. For online, they are available at my.scouting.org, Scouting U, or any of the social media outlets like Facebook and YouTube. Some examples are like safe swim defense, safety afloat, hazardous weather, which is now has to be part. That is old actually, because they just came out with hazardous weather is part of your position specific training. So make sure you stay on top of that one. Trek safely, the climb of safety. Safely, Facebook and YouTube provide real-time and recorded training sessions for Cub Chat and Troop Talk Live and leading our adventures. Some in-person opportunities. These are a very unique opportunity because not only will you have some fabulous training in person, but it gives you the opportunity to network with other leaders, not necessarily in your council. You can take training from other councils and actually network with other leaders from other councils. But also if you do it in council, you can actually network across our entire council as well. Some examples can range from outdoor skills, Baloo and IOS for pack and troop leaders, to program best practices and tips, like University of Scouting, which is coming up. Cub College and College of Commissioner Science. That is also, there's one coming up soon as well. Some training for youth available both in person and online, such as the National Youth Leadership Training, NYLT Academy, National Advanced Youth Leadership Experience, and the National Leadership Seminar through Order of the Arrow. Some great opportunities for you to take advantage of furthering your skills as a leader and to help further our Scouts experience. As I said before, our next roundtable is March 13th, 2025, and it is virtual. So don't forget to register so you can get this wonderful link so you can join us next month. So our roundtable, as we were talking about it, so our breakout sessions usually is Scouts BSA and Cub Scouts. But as Steve and I were talking, we're like, you know what? We really need to get both units or both programs together, and we need to have this conversation. Because when we talk about transitioning Cub Scouts into Scouts BSA, we're not just transitioning the youth, we're transitioning families, we're transitioning leaders, we're transitioning everybody. And we need to help transition them into the Scouts BSA, or at the Cub Scout level, get them ready so they know what to expect as they cross over. Because, you know, we want to make sure that these wonderful leaders that we have at the Cub Scout level continue on at the Scouts BSA and not get the, well, I did my time, I am done. Because we get that, don't we? So this video is actually the one for the Cub Scouts, but I think it's valuable not only for the Cub Scout leaders, but also for the leaders at the Scouts BSA level, so they know what kinds of things are happening and know what they're coming with. So let's take a listen. By the way, did you hear that you were able to hear? Okay. Okay, awesome.
Did you know that most of the youth who were in Scouts BSA were once Cub Scouts? At last time I checked, it was like 75% of Scouts BSA members were once Cub Scouts. The purpose of the Arrow of Light Badge of Rank is to simply prepare youth to join a Scouts BSA troop. Welcome to Roundtable as we discuss how to successfully prepare Arrow of Light Scouts to join a Scouts BSA troop. Before we get started, I want to make sure that everyone understands that with the program updates of 2024, Weeblos is now only for fourth graders. It is simply the Cub Scout program for fourth graders. Weeblos is no longer preparing Cub Scouts to join Scouts BSA. The program updates of 2024 made the Arrow of Light Badge of Rank a standalone program that is for fifth graders. The purpose of the Arrow of Light is to prepare Cub Scouts to join Scouts BSA. This clear distinction now makes it simple to understand. It also makes it easier to deliver the program. It now makes the overall Cub Scout program easier to understand as each grade has a specific badge of rank. Now, the Arrow of Light Badge of Rank is designed to prepare Arrow of Light Scouts for Scouts BSA. So the first step to successfully preparing your Arrow of Light Scouts is to deliver the program as designed. So let's take a look at how the required adventures for Arrow of Light meet the purpose of preparing Cub Scouts for Scouts BSA. Each badge of rank in Cub Scouting has 6 required adventures that are based on the aims and areas of importance to Scouting America. The themes of the required adventures are character and leadership, the outdoors, personal fitness, citizenship, safety, family, and reverence. Now, the Bobcat adventure is designed to be the first required adventure. Now, it doesn't have to be, but once you see the requirements, it makes sense to make this the first required adventure for your den. Here are the requirements for the Arrow of Light Bobcat adventure. Now, the highlighted requirements are the requirements specifically designed to prepare Cub Scouts for Scouts BSA. Bobcat is designed to reinforce Scouting values, character, and the methods used to reinforce those values and to develop leadership. We make the shift from Cub Scouting to Scouts BSA by introducing the patrol method. Use of the Scouts BSA sign, salute, and handshake, thus beginning their journey to Scouts BSA. You will notice that the den forms an Arrow of Light patrol and elects a patrol leader. This is done to simply introduce the Scouts BSA patrol method. They are still a den, and the Arrow of Light patrol leader has the same position description as the denner position. This is an introduction. It is not intended, nor should you have your Arrow of Light Den fully function as a Scouts BSA patrol using the youth leadership. Now, the Bobcat Adventure also requires Arrow of Light Scouts to visit a Scouts BSA troop. This can be done as a den or as a family. In either situation, the parents or legal guardians of the Scouts should attend with them. We know that it's important for parents and legal guardians to get to know the adult leaders in the troop and for the troop to get to know them. The sooner these relationships can begin, the more likely an Arrow of Light Scout will successfully join a Scouts BSA troop. The next required adventure is the Outdoor Adventure. Now, this has a camping requirement, and this is intentional. Scouts BSA troops go camping. The camping trip can be done with their den as part of a pack overnighter. It can be as an Arrow of Light den, or it can be with a Scouts BSA troop. Arrow of Light dens may now attend district or council camporees overnight. So make sure to follow youth protection policies and a guide to safe scouting. In each of these camping experiences, their purpose is to have the den start working as a team and practice the patrol method, becoming less dependent on adults. Now, at no time are you to put an Arrow of Light Scout in direct leadership or make them responsible for other youth. Active, qualified adult supervision is paramount to keeping everyone in scouting safe. Now, next is the Personal Fitness Adventure. And this is where we introduce the concept of tracking progress over a period of time. And this concept is common among merit badges. Now is a good time to point out that we focused on keeping the names of the Arrow of Light adventures to be pretty straightforward, just like merit badges in Scouts BSA. We're removing what I refer to as the cubified name for adventures. So next is citizenship. This adventure only has 2 requirements, but the focus is on having Arrow of Light Scouts become familiar with how to plan and participate in a service project using the SAFE or SAFE guide. It also requires them to track their service hours, a requirement for badges of rank in Scouts BSA. The first aid adventure was designed based on feedback from Scouts BSA leaders who wanted to make sure that new Scouts in the troop were more familiar with first aid. Additionally, the first aid adventure deals with personal safety awareness and the protect yourself rules designed for 5th graders. Now, that brings us to the Duty to God adventure. Duty to God is a cornerstone of the Scout oath, and being reverent is part of the Scout law. In Scouts BSA, youth take part in what is called a border review to earn their badge of rank. Often in a border review, Scouts are asked how they live by the Scout oath and law. In this adventure, we want to prepare youth on how to verbalize what duty to God means to them. Now, all 6 required adventures are designed to prepare Arrow of Light Scouts for Scouts BSA. Simply completing the required adventures will help Arrow of Light Scouts be prepared for Scouts BSA. And a key element to Arrow of Light Scouts joining Scouts BSA is coordination with a Scouts BSA troop early to create a seamless transition into the troop. Now on scouting.org, we have listed in detail things that can be done, who does them, and by when. This resource is great to help you work those items into your annual pack programming. And you get to them simply by scanning this QR code. When a Cub Scout joins a Scouts BSA troop, we call it crossing over. It is recommended that this be done as a ceremony in collaboration with one or more Scouts BSA troops. Here are 4 things to keep in mind when preparing Cub Scouts to cross over into a Scouts BSA troop. First, youth should choose a troop that fits them. Youth in the same den are not required to join the same troop. Second, make sure that you are being flexible with the timing of your crossover ceremony. It does not have to be at Blue and Gold celebration or on a specific month. Thirdly, remember to transition parents and leaders too. Help them with understanding the Scouts BSA program. And lastly, learn the Scouts BSA troops summer camp plans and how it is financed. We know summer camp is a great way to keep youth in scouting. A tip from the experts. Great troops who have successful crossovers with packs conduct a new parent orientation. Now, this 45-minute meeting covers the Scouts BSA program and hits subjects that create an open line of communication between the troop and these new parents. You can access this outline by following this QR code. We hope that this roundtable will increase the number of Arrow Light Scouts that join a Scouts BSA troop and make it a smoother transition. Now it's your turn. Consider these discussion items with your fellow leaders.
And I have those set for you guys in just a minute with some Scouts BSA questions. All right. So our questions are, the 4 things that he talks about as a Cub Scout leader is about, youth should choose a troop that fits them, be flexible with the timing of the crossover ceremony, remember to transition parents and leaders too, and learn the Scouts BSA troop summer camp plans and how it's financed. First, great troops to conduct.
Did you know that?
Sorry. Something for our Scouts BSA for conversation and questions. What do you do? What do you get? No, sorry, let me try that again. When do you get a local Scouts BSA troop involved in the planning process for transition? How is your relationship with the local Scouts BSA troop or troops that your Scouts could join? And did you learn something new in this roundtable? If so, what was it and what did others learn? So these are questions that and I'm going to stop sharing so I can see you guys better. So these are questions. This is an open conversation between Cub Scout leaders and Scouts BSA leaders, and kind of give some ideas of, as Cub Scout leaders, what ideas and thoughts could you give the Scouts BSA when they're talking about their troops, and what kinds of information do you think would be very beneficial for your Scouts, especially those parents who are trying to help their Scouts choose a troop, and vice versa, troops, what kinds of questions and what kinds of things are you expecting from the Cub Scout parents when they come in? Do you want them to know a little bit more about the Scout program? So this is an open conversation for transitioning. We've always been talking about the Scouts, but really the ones who make the final decision are the parents and the families, because we have to make sure that they are also comfortable, because we keep saying that we're a family, Scouts family, a Scout family. Well, we need to actually make sure that they're welcomed in open arms. And I think this is where the new member coordinator also comes in handy. Just saying. Go. I tried my best. Go. So let me start this question. Troops. How many of you hold a new parent orientation? Got 1. 2.
Our troop holds a new parent orientation the same night that the new scouts that bridged over come to their first meeting. So that's also the same night as the new parent orientation, and the parents get talked with the scoutmaster.
All right. Anybody else? Do we do it? Does anybody hold it on a separate night?
We do. We have ours earlier. We actually have ours coming up. And they do that also so they can inform the parents on different things that our specific troop does. So to see if it's a good fit for their kids ahead of time.
Okay.
Our troop has sort of a hybrid. We have a welcome to the troop, come check out a troop meeting, and we'll pull the parents aside and talk about what the troop is about. And then one of the first meetings, it's not the first meeting, we have a whole new parent orientation. We go over merit badges and what summer camp looks like, and answer any questions, talk about what gear will be required and what gear is provided, that sort of thing.
Okay. Cub Scout leaders. I mean, I know 1 is a Cub Scout leader. I didn't see who else. Who else is my Cub Scouts? I thought I saw Kelly, right? Kelly? Amy's part of a pack as well. Anybody else? You can use the little hand icon with a hand up. I'll see that. Only 2. So Cub Scout leaders, is this something very beneficial? Do you think that's beneficial? It's something that needs to be beefed up? What are you hearing from your parents?
Most of the time, We actually the ones that help the most with the transition early on, at least now for that Arrow of Light year, are our den chiefs. Our den chiefs are very important. They play a really important role because they're the ones that are that assist the leaders in explaining how everything kind of transfers over as far as how adventures and how they are similar to ranking up within the Scouts BSA program, as well as the merit badges and how those work. The Den Chiefs kind of introduced that earlier on in the year. Um, and then obviously when we have our new parent meeting, and actually I should back that up. We have a lot of our parents still do attend all of the meetings. So they're there as well. So they kind of get an intro to it early on. And then once they start looking at the different troops, at least when they in 63, when we have our new parent orientation, that's when they kind of connect with the leaders and they hear it coming from the leaders.
So so your Cubby parents are actually first hearing about it through the den chief first.
Through the yes.
And
Yep.
then they hear it again through when you actually go to the different meetings. Okay. So the importance of actually having a den chief.
Mm-hmm.
How many Scouts BSA leaders do we have that actually send out den chiefs? Count one, two, three, four. Okay, so five. So okay, so we're a good chunk of them. Um, how many Cub Scout leaders are rely solely on, well, and vice versa, Scouts BSA rely mostly on this is my feeder pack, this is where I'm going because this is where we've always gone mentality. Okay. I highly encourage you to encourage your scouts to not think like that. Um, my son, a perfect example is my son. We went we had a feeder troop because our Cub Scout Cub Master now became the Scout Master to this other troop, and so okay, we're gonna follow him. And my son was all for going because everybody else was going, and then I'm like, you know what? Because in our family, the day and the time that troop meant did not mesh well with our family schedule. So I'm like, we encouraged our son to go to a different troop. And by not even halfway through the troop meeting, he comes running back. He's like, I'm coming here. So that from going to this is where we're going to no, I feel more at home here is why we're now in the unit that we're in now. So what we don't want to see is a lot of our Cub Scouts to go to the where everyone else is going and then losing them because they've got lost because it's too crowded. It doesn't fit their personality. It doesn't fit, whatever the case may be, and then lose them. I also highly encourage our scout leaders to go when you start seeing those tall tale signs that they're not coming because they don't feel welcome. They don't feel like they're meshing with their troop or the patrol or things like that. To instead of saying, well, it's your choice what you want to do, to encourage them to start going, well, let's see if we can find another unit that might fit you better and start pushing them. I'd rather have my scenario has always been I'd rather keep them in the scouting program and help them find a unit they would feel comfortable. When my girls troop, we saw the writing on the wall that we were not going to survive because we were not getting the recruits that we were getting, I started telling my girls at all the camporees, go talk to that leader, that unit, go talk to that unit, go talk to that unit, and come back to me and tell me where you think you're going to want to go. Because we knew what was coming. And instead of waiting for the girls unit to fold and then leave the girls hanging out to dry, we were proactive about it. And I'm like, go start talking. And the same thing holds true with the Cub Scouts. Have them start looking at what makes them feel better. Um, give them questions. What kind of questions do you think we should give our Cub Scouts what to ask or to think about and reflect on when they go visit these units?
Well, I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep chiming in,
I
but one of the big questions that a lot of the scouts as well as the parents had that was helped determine their decision was how often the units went camping. So that was a really big one for our kids. But that's a big question.
But you know what? But it's a question. And if your unit, if you're hearing that question might also be coming from someplace else, just no one wants to say anything.
I think for all, as far as recruiting, what do families want to ask units? And I think you're all running the same program. You're all running the same Cub Scout program. You're all running the same Scouts BSA program. How are you different? What nights do you meet on? Where do you meet? How big is your unit? How many, for the troops, how many merit badge counselors are kind of, in-house scoutmasters, assistant scoutmasters, committee members? How often do you camp? Do you go far for summer camp? Are you going to RSR every year? Explain your culture, explain how you're different, not better, not worse than the guy down the street, so that they can get a feel for which unit is the better fit for their family. You're all doing merit badges. You're all working on first class, second class. It's all the same program, but every unit has its own culture. So asking those questions and getting that, and then of course, along with that comes, money and how do you fundraise and how much do you charge and are there, weekly dues and those sorts of things.
That was always one question when I would talk to parents and they're in that Cub Scout, getting ready to look at troops. I would start saying, these are questions you need to ask.
Mhm.
What is your expectation when it comes to fundraising? What is your expectation when it comes to paying for camp? What is your expectation as a parent? I'm like, you need to ask these questions because are we fundraising, every month because we are constantly running these high adventure things? Well, they need to know why you're fundraising it. One thing I always do is I give them a calendar of these are the things that the boys have created for their calendar for the year. These are the big activities that they're looking at doing. And that's always a good thing to have in hand. The other thing that our unit started doing was we gave a welcome letter. I had my scoutmaster write a welcome letter to our new kiddos. And as a committee chair, I would write a welcome letter to the parents because where the scoutmaster runs the program, I run the committee, and this is where I need parents. And then on top of that, we always gave a letter of here are the similarities and differences between a Cub Scout unit and a Scouts BSA unit. Because a lot of times they feel like, well, I got to be there every week. I got to be part. I have to help. He's got to get to this rank. And no. At this point, this is now up to the youth and at the pace that they want. And sometimes we need to grab those parents and pull them back going, you did what you did as a Cub Scout leader. Now it's time to sit and help me. And this is where we really talk about these roles of the parents, because it is such a big and drastic change from always being on the scout and now going, I'm letting go. Now what do I do? And we don't want the drop and go parents. We want the drop and stay. And this is where I always make sure I always had something for the parents to do. Hey, I really do need help with stapling these flyers onto these bags for scouting for food. Want to help out? Hey, I really need someone to, and it's just this is where you can start doing those small asks, and before you know it, they're part of your committee, they're part of whatever new member coordinator, whatever the case may be. Any other thoughts and ideas to help each other out? Because we're trying to bridge this gap here.
So I know with us, we've got one pack that's in town. We've got two troops, and we actually have a really good relationship between the two troops, I feel. When parents come with their arrow of lights as they're going to visit the meeting, I encourage them to go visit the other troop as well. We meet on different nights. We have different dynamics as far as the units. So just let them decide. Let them take a look. Because honestly, neither one of our troops are the same number as the pack. So technically, it's not a feeder pack. It is what it is. And what's interesting with our unit, we have 21 kids that we have 11 different schools that are part of our unit as far as where we pull kids from. So it's not all just from one unit. We have kids from all over the place, which is kind of an interesting dynamic in itself.
The other thing I think we also need to start communicating with our Cub Scout parents sooner rather than later are the ones that don't want to continue on because they're going to do football, they're going to do baseball, they're going to do band, and they can't do both, and and this and that. And I think we need to start telling our and explaining at the Cub Scout level to the parents as in they can do both. They can do both. Especially now with with the new uniform policy that just came through. I don't know if everybody saw that it is one of the aims of scouting, but not necessary. I mean, we have scouters who are like uniform at the top and they have their baseball pants or the football pants at the bottom because they came straight from football practice or from a game or something. We've had kids who come in full JROTC uniform because they came from an event. I'm like, but they're there. And I think we need to also encourage and let parents know that they can do both. They can do both. The rate that they want to get to, whatever they want to get to, is on them. And we as adults and parents and leaders can only encourage them and help them map it out so they are able to do both. I have cousins who have been in scouts and they were 3-sport, 3-season, athletes, and they made Eagle. So it's like it is doable, it is possible. And of course, schoolwork and stuff like that. It's just us as leaders need to help and guide them and show them and how to map everything out so they can get to everything. But I think if we start that,
Oh,
go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
I said if we can start that conversation
Mhm.
earlier, and then it gets reiterated at the troop level, going, you can do both. You just need to just communicate with your SPL. Hey, I'm not making it today. I got such and such practice. Oh, I'm going to be a little late because I'm coming straight from here. It's all we ever ask our youth, right? Is just to communicate. So if we start that conversation early, I think the transitions could be. Could you explain the new? Oh yeah, Bob, I will. I'll get
The,
it. So, but
the other thing I've heard is, or we've tried to encourage it, and I think it's still about the same right now with the new renewal process. But I've always told parents, you've paid anyway. You're not getting your money back from national. You're already paid. Most of these current transitioning scouts are probably paid until December anyway for national. They might as well give it a try. And we find that units that or scouts that give it a try and make it through the summer, and especially those that go to summer camp, are much more successful. If they can just give it a try for a few months, explain to your scouts the fee for the unit to join, but most of them, the transition fee for national and for the council is free. So you've already paid, you might as well take advantage of it. And sometimes that combined with, and you can do both, seem to often those people that were on the fence, encourage them to just give it a try and see if they like it for a few months.
so Bob had asked me to talk about the BSA clothing question. So I have it pulled up. It's right here. I hope you can see it.
We can't see your screen yet. There we go.
Hold on. I'm
It's
getting there.
loading.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
It's loading. It's loading. There we see it.
All right, right here. Okay. So, oh geez. Basically it says, what happens when there are questions about clothing? Because let's be honest, there are units out there that are very strict on the uniform policy. And there has been chatter going on the different social media websites about how scouts were denied board of reviews because they were not in full uniform, or the uniform wasn't to par of what they thought a scout should look like for a board of review. And so this question came, so they have a clothing guideline Um, Basically, it comes down to, um, first of all, identifying what the two uniforms are. We have a Class A and we have a Class B. Really, it should be Class A is your activities uniform, and your Class B is your, sorry, field uniform, activities uniform. Sorry, I said it backwards. We're trying to get away from the Class A, Class Bs. Okay, so we're not military. So that's the first thing, is getting that verbiage in. The other thing is that it's really the youth who gets to decide what their uniform is going to look like. Is the youth okay with just a uniform top and jeans, as long as they're not torn or whatever? Or is it, you know, you can come as is for troop meetings, but when it comes to service projects and we're out in public and we're representing our unit, are we in full uniform with uniform pants and things like that? It is the choice of the youth. That's the biggest thing. Okay. It did get posted on the Facebook page, which is where I pulled this from. Um, Talk to the Scoutmaster first. If there's a concern with it, this is the one about concerns. Let me go back. I might have pulled the wrong one out. Here we go. Can you see that? All right. Can you guys see this page?
Yep.
Okay. It says, we understand uniforms are an important part of scouting. We also understand that uniforms are not mandatory and the scout cannot be prevented from participation or advancement due to lack of uniform. When we choose clothes for any scouting activities, use these rules. Safety first, respectful choices, religious, cultural, and medical needs, and aquatic activities. I'm not going to read this for you guys because it's there. Okay. So it's a really good read, and it's something that you really just need to be aware of. And Angie popped in. Hi, Angie.
Hello. So, the big thing that this clothing policy is talking about is that the authority of the clothing policy is at the unit level, meaning your troop decides what is appropriate for your scouts, and nobody else from outside of your troop has the authority to tell you what is or isn't appropriate for your scouts. So if there is a disagreement over what a youth is wearing, an adult should never, ever, unless there is an immediate safety concern, be questioning a youth about their clothing. So if you see a kid who's not from your unit and they are not in immediate danger from their whatever they're wearing, then you can, but you have a concern about it, you go talk to the leadership. You never ever talk to the youth unless they're going to get hurt from what they're wearing. You don't talk to the youth. You, as the adult leader of your unit, are responsible for your scouts. So that means you, as the adult leaders with the youth, with the chartering organization, you together will decide what is okay and what is not okay for your unit. Now, a council event could have some additional requirements related to safety. So for things like cope, where you need to have certain clothing on, or horseback riding, a council can say, or a camp can say, hey, we have to have pants, or we have to have, no loose clothing or whatever for the safety of the activity. And the unit needs to respect that. And that supersedes anything that's in the troops policy. So if you haven't read the materials, please make sure you read them because they're going to impact how things happen in our council and at events. I think it should help improve things. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask me about them, and we will make sure that everyone understands them.
Bob, you had a question?
Yes. Is this in any way similar to the venturing program's choice of uniforms, Angelique?
No, it's still the uniform is still the Scouts BSA uniform, but it's up to the unit to decide, hey, so in our unit we wear our shirts untucked. then that's your unit. Nobody else can tell your scouts tuck them in. And you could say in our unit we don't have to wear the pants, which is okay. Like that's just up to the unit. But this also has to do with in our unit we can wear tank tops, and that's fine. And so that means your unit can wear tank tops for when you're not in your uniform. It's about setting what the dress code is for your particular troop, but it isn't actually changing the uniform at all, the actual uniform.
No, but I'm well. Take for example summer camp. If camp requires the scouts be in Class A uniform, I'm sorry, in their field uniforms for supper, does that mean that even though our troop decided that our T-shirts are okay,
So a troop still has a field uniform and an activity uniform, right? So if the field uniform is still the Scouts BSA shirt, and it's just like we don't tell kids to tuck in their shirts. We don't tell kids that they need to change their pants. We don't tell kids unless they're in your own unit. It's none of our business as adults. That's pretty much what the policy says.
okay, one more try.
Yeah.
If our troop decides to wear T-shirts for our uniform, all right, and summer camp requires scouts to be in their field uniforms for dinner, since our troop decided that our uniform is just T-shirts, what happens?
Then that's
And I don't believe me. I don't want to be a stickler. I can just see some scoutmasters saying our uniform is T-shirts. We don't have to wear the field uniforms.
That's a conversation between the scoutmaster and the camp director, and not between anybody else. And that's a case by case basis. So if that's what the scoutmaster is determining hill they want to die on, then that's a conversation that the scoutmaster can have with whoever is having that problem with them being there. A uniform cannot be required to participate in scouting. You cannot make people wear it. If they choose not to, cannot.
Understand. I don't want to violate that policy either, but I'm just saying there's probably going to be some flack. I think it might be wise for the camp director to state inside the leader's manual that field uniforms are required for supper, because otherwise you're going to have a lot of discussions, heated.
Well, if you'll also notice, the last line of that policy is also we remember to be friendly, courteous, and kind in all our interactions when we're discussing this with one another. And it's only supposed to be between the adults. Never, the youth should never know about all of the disagreements that the adults are having in the background, because that is the main point of this policy, is because from data that we collected in a 5-year review of Girls and Scouts BSA from both boys and girls, we and I know this from personal experience, is the girls especially are getting told what they're wearing, no matter what they're wearing. Doesn't matter what they're wearing. They're being told whatever they're wearing is inappropriate. And it's happening at a much higher rate than anyone understood. And so this policy is seeking to make it clear that unless the scout is in your unit, you should not be talking about what the scout is wearing, unless you're talking directly to the adults of that unit. So that is the biggest take-home point of this. Is it gonna require some discussion as everyone gets used to it? Yes, it is. But ultimately, it's to help make sure that these kids aren't being shamed by adults who are well-meaning, but are giving conflicting information. So my scoutmaster said this is okay. This other person's telling me I'm dressed like inappropriately. Who's right? There is no right. It just depends on each unit and each chartering organization.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, we don't do it at school, so why are we doing it at Scouts? I mean, as adults, that is. So considering that we kind of transitioned into Q&A, I'm going to stop the recording here. Nope. Or did I already stopped it? Here we go.